Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Air Force's Global Classroom. My name is Michaela McCurry, and I work with the outreach team here at the Air Force Culture and Language Center. We have a very special guest with us for today's AFCLC TV episode. We are honored to welcome Brigadier General William Freeman, Commander of Air War College here at Maxwell Air Force Base. General Freeman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Michaela.
Absolutely. So you attended the 7th Annual Air University LREC Symposium with us last month. How was that experience for you?
It was a phenomenal experience and very appreciative of Lieutenant General Tullis, the President and Commander of Air University, for hosting the event at Maxwell Air Force Base for the 7th Annual Language, Regional Expertise, and Culture, or LREC, Symposium. This year's theme was Excel and LREC to Win. First and foremost, I'd like to recognize the leadership of Mr. Howard Ward. He's the Director of the Air Force Cultural and Language Center, and his team for their hard work that went into hosting the symposium. We had over 300 personnel in attendance, which is over 10 more than we had from the previous in-person event. The symposium provided a platform for academic discussion on topics specific to language, region, and culture education in the military, as well as a forum for the exchange of intercultural experiences and lessons learned. As military members, we are continually challenged to win in a highly complex operating environment. As our focus has shifted from countering violent extremism to integrated deterrence, we must learn more to understand potential adversaries to read their intentions accurately. Also, the scale of the theaters makes interoperability a necessity. Success in both endeavors flows from deep knowledge and skill in LREC. The incredible lineup of guest speakers featured recent operational vignettes from Allies Refuge and the conflict in Ukraine to breakout sessions that led us through a mental exploration of what is necessary as an LREC community to develop these critical skills. It was an extraordinary event, and we look forward to continuing this momentum throughout the year into the 2023 symposium.
Thank you for that. So let's talk about the new National Defense Strategy. The NDS calls for anchoring our strategy in partners and allies. Now, what is the importance of language, regional expertise, and culture education for both Air War College and AFCLC in meeting that NDS requirement?
The National Security Strategy, just released in October, followed by a well-nested National Defense Strategy, states that our world is at an inflection point. We are in the midst of a strategic competition to shape the future of the international order. One of the three main lines of effort to address these challenges is to continue to build the strongest possible coalition of nations to enhance our collective influence, and goes on to state that our most important strategic asset is our alliances and partnerships around the world. For integrated deterrence, our competitive advantage is clearly our most important asset, our people. Our airmen's unique skills in language, culture, and regional expertise will ensure we understand what our allies and partners need, but also help us understand our adversaries and their ways of war. We're very fortunate to have over 3,700 scholars in our language-enabled airmen's program in our Air Force and Space Force today. Many of them attended this year's LREC, and I want to relay my personal thanks for their continued service and highlight the importance of their operational impacts to the mission. These aren't skills that can be created after the crisis occurs.
Absolutely. So the NDS also emphasizes the need for being integrated by design with allies and partners through investment in interoperability and joint capability development. How do you feel AFCLC's Language-Enabled Airmen program is answering that call?
I think LEAP has definitely answered that call, and I think integrates perfectly into the Air Force's new Air Force generation model. These are 4 separate 6-month phases that not only prepares our warfighters through education and training, but also provides predictability to their units, the geographic combatant commands who will receive these forces, and predictability and stability for the airmen and their families as well. The 4 phases are prepare, ready, commit, and reset. During the prepare phase, the airmen go through a Ready Airman training syllabus that has several instructional blocks called Ready Training Areas. The Air Force Cultural and Language Center is providing 6 blocks of instruction in cross-cultural communications, preparing our airmen to understand the operational environment from a language and cultural perspective. The ideal solution will be to align all of these power projection wings with a specific region. For example, you'll need to prepare your airmen differently if they're deploying to the high north and Arctic region, vice going to the Philippines or to Africa. They'll need to be educated and trained regarding language and culture, along with different equipment, tactics, techniques, procedures, and communications gear. Lastly, we should align the assignment system to provide some of our 3,700 LEAP airmen into these regionally aligned power projection wings to provide this unique expertise to the deploying forces. For agile combat employment, an educated airman with language and cultural skills will be a force multiplier for these smaller, disaggregated teams and will be a truly multi-capable airman. They will assist with the interoperability with partners and allies and help shape our adversary perceptions of a united coalition force that should not be messed with, and will act as a strong deterrent for any potential adverse actions by the enemy.
So you've had some experiences utilizing culturally competent airmen from LEAP in some of your previous roles. Can you tell us about some of those experiences?
Absolutely. It was July 2016 in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and there was a terrorist attack on a bakery that killed 29 civilians and hostages were taken. I was an operational group commander serving in Japan and received a call from my 2-star boss requesting a 3-3 Bengali speaker with a top secret clearance to deploy immediately. We scoured the LEAP database and found him serving as an executive officer to a senior executive service member at LA Air Station. He deployed on July 1st with less than 24 hours notice and arrived in Dhaka and served the team we had there extremely well for the next few weeks, and it had an immense impact on that mission. Secondly, same vignette, but one of the officers that we did not select was at the intelligence school at Goodfellow Air Force Base, and he was tracking to a different unit in our Air Force, and we quickly intervened and vectored him out to our operations group in Japan to serve in our intelligence unit, and he later deployed to Bangladesh and served in a great capacity for our nation. And then the last story I'd like to share is most recently with the crisis in Ukraine. I was a commander in the United Kingdom, and one of my financial management tech sergeants was born in Belarus and fluent in Russian and had a lot of Ukrainian language skills as well. And we deployed her in the fall of 2020 when we were training up the Ukrainian forces. And then she later was stationed in Germany and got to help out with her language and cultural skills after the crisis occurred here this past February.
Wow. Thank you for sharing those with us. Your experiences definitely emphasize the need for multi-capable airmen who are equipped with LREC skills that cannot be just in time trained. So what advice do you have for other commanders and planners for incorporating LREC skills into their missions?
Well, we recently had a guest speaker at Air War College who was a former U.S. ambassador to 2 African countries, and she provided a lecture on multilateralism and U.S. foreign policy. One of our students asked her a question on what was the number one takeaway that they should have from her remarks, and she answered them with understanding culture. You need to emphasize to your airmen that they need to understand not only the adversary, but also our allies and partners' language and culture. This will gain us immediate credibility at the table and will multiply the whole of government effects we're attempting to achieve in that particular region. My advice is to ensure you provide your airmen the resources, the education and the training, and the time to invest in improving their language and cultural skills in the region your power projection wing is aligned to in the commit phase of the Air Force Force Generation cycle. Also, know who to call or designate someone in your unit to secure those additional LEAP experts when a crisis occurs. They provide a significant operational impact to any overseas crisis by helping you understand not only the adversary, but the requirements of our key allies and partners as well.
So for our viewers who are interested in submitting a request for language support, as General Freeman mentioned in upcoming missions, you can visit the AFCLC website and select the Training Partnership Request digital form in our sidebar menu. Now, before we sign off, sir, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, just from the perch of the Commandant of the Air War College, I wanted to share that the Air War College competitive advantage is in the intellectual diversity of our faculty and student body. We have 225 students here at Maxwell Air Force Base representing each branch of service in the Department of Defense, along with the interagency, but also 20% of our class are international officers representing 46 countries. This is our strategic advantage. Our adversaries' Air War College equivalents don't integrate their limited international students into their seminar groups. We have fully integrated our international officers into each of our 17 seminars, and they provide unique insights and perspectives into each of the daily discussions. We've converted 60% of our curriculum, that includes guest speakers and a practical application war game, to focus on great power competition, specifically China and Russia. We're very proud of our faculty for investing into this significant change, and we're eager to receive feedback from our students to improve the course for next year. I also think that creating dilemmas for the enemy is step number one, is to understand the enemy and what our allies and partners require from us. One thing we learned in Europe is that our allies and partners require precision fires. And we worked with the Air Force Research Lab and DARPA to provide a palletized munitions out of any cargo aircraft that can provide those precision fires to our allies and partners. This was just successfully demonstrated in a Norwegian space range just a couple weeks ago, and again, reemphasizes to our allies and partners that we're there by their side, we're listening to what they need and require from us, and we're providing that combat capability, again, to create dilemmas for the enemy. And then I'd like to leave you with a quote that's on a historical marker at the Air Force Culture and Language Center. It's from Jimmy Doolittle. In the next war, it will be more important that we're prepared from the neck up than the neck down. And I think in this era of strategic competition, partnership is taking on a whole new level of meaning. The conversations we had during this year's LREC symposium has everything to do with whether our thinking is linked to the challenges as they are and will be, not what they were. Thank you. And from my family to yours, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, it was an honor to have you as a guest today, General Freeman, so thank you again for your time. And before we sign off, we'd like to thank all of our viewers, our AFCLC staff, my outreach partner, Lori Quiller, the Air War College administration team, and Mr. Les Fineff and the AUPA team. Until next time, remember, we are AFCLC, the Air Force's Global Classroom.